Yeah. So they're going to call this supply chain structure, which I guess it is. Structure the supply chain support of the organization's business strategy. So you want to design your supply chain to be a natural extension of your business strategy. So if you make trucks, you want a supply chain that has truck parts. Then you got to decide whether you want good truck parts or Navistar type truck parts. So organizations first need to identify their priorities and set their goals. Are they a low cost producer? Are you Walmart or are you Nordstrom? These goals will dictate the supply base you need. So if you're Walmart, you're not going to buy from Nordstrom suppliers and vice versa. Use the TCO methodology to evaluate the suppliers in the supply chain. That's one way of doing it. Roles. So supply chain structure should be designed by a cross-functional steering committee. You need the executive suite, business leaders, other functional leaders. I don't know of anybody that consciously sits down and does this, but I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea. The steering committee will also break down any barriers within the organization and deal with individuals who do not see the value. Typically, procurement is divided into two major areas: tactical purchasing, and this is how most of the Fortune 500 companies are looking at procurement or purchasing these days. Tactical purchasing, things like forecasting and planning internal customer orders, identifying purchase recs and statements of work, selecting suppliers from an approved list, reviewing supply forecasts, and establishing reorder points, performing stock checks. So doing invoice discrepancies is probably in there too. All the RPIs, all the mundane day-to-day stuff. And then you've got strategic sourcing, which is the other part of purchasing. So looking at supply management strategy, market research, categories of products, supplier performance, relationships with the supply base, and periodic spend analysis. We're kind of trying to move that direction by having the analysts do a lot of the tactical stuff, but it's a long, slow road. Logistics is responsible for getting the right product to the right place at the right time. And they'll manage all the activities that take place after the product is finished. So, typically in a retail group, logistics would handle finished goods, distribution outlets, responding to orders for product, managing all transportation, and managing return goods. So this is for a make to stock type of company that usually does something on the retail end of things. Some companies' logistics may also manage the incoming freight for components to make the product, which is what we do here at PACCAR, because if you rely on the supplier to prepay an ad on your PO, then you usually get abused because they just kind of like, well, it costs $15 to ship, so we'll charge 30 or 45. Operations involve day-to-day activities needed to produce the parts. So these are the guys that are making the trucks. And then marketing determines what customers want and are willing to pay for, hopefully. They're supposed to be doing market research and sales forecasts and creating awareness. Finance, they need to track the transactions, prepare the financial reports, manage the cash flow. Really, their big job is preparing and managing budgets and assisting in strategic decisions. And then you've got R&D, new product development, and some organizations will co-locate purchasing and R&D or engineering. I think they all use division e-buyers for both PTC and Kenworth and Peterbilt. And here's the 8 supply chain processes. So the four on the outside are customer service management, returns, supplier relationship management, which these two are kind of similar but opposite ends, and demand management. And then interior to that, customer relationship management, service and relationship management. Okay. Order fulfillment, manufacturing flow, and product development. So product development focuses on quickly bringing the products and services to market. Suppliers are often a key part of this. So we're just going to go through these 8 processes here. Customer relationship management, otherwise known as CRM, brought to us by the Salesforce.com guys, develops and maintains relationships within an organization's customers. Usually the customers are segmented, much like we would segment the supply base, and more valuable customers are targeted with customized products. Order fulfillment ensures on-time delivery of goods and services to the customer. And if you want to know about how measuring that and all that good stuff, ISM has a little 2 or 3 page article on it. It's always hard to measure because the data usually needs a lot of cleanup. Goal is to satisfy the customer while minimizing total cost of the process. Manufacturing flow management, we talked about this. This is, lot size of 1, Kanbans and all that good kind of stuff. Stage, storage and movement of work in process, storage and movement of finished goods, design of customer queues, what technology should be used, etc. And then customer service management, product availability, their shipping dates, estimated arrival times. These are the people that are working with our customers in sales. Or really for us, this takes place at the dealer. Returns management involve returning product. This is not us. We do our returns through warranty repairs, but for goods producers that are sell to retail, they do this returns management, reverse logistics activities, where they set up pathways to bring the products back. And if you're so bad that you have to set up reverse logistics activities, then maybe you ought to get a better quality product going. And then supplier relationship management finds the interaction between the organization and suppliers. And this is the Kralik matrix. Demand management is looking at the customer's requirements with our capacity. Goal is to experience only minimal disruptions to the flow of goods to the customer. But we end up having a order list that's quite long, or a backlog. Requires following accurate forecasting, increasing agility, production, delivery, and reducing the variability of demand through incentives to the customers. So this is not truck manufacturing because we're an engineer to order kind of company. What this is make to stock. And then we've got supply chain mapping. Should be linked to the company's strategic plan and evaluate supply chain membership. So you got a supply chain map, which is a pictorial representation of the supply chain. And there's varying degrees of this. You'll learn a couple of different ways in MCE. And then they've got another version called the Supply Chain Operations Reference Model, otherwise known as SCOR. It's been around since the late 90s. It's now part of APIX, which is now the Association for Supply Chain Management. They bought this up 10 years ago or so. But it's an interesting way of structuring things. They break it down into planning, sourcing, which is procurement, make, which is the manufacturing plant, deliver to the customer, and then returns. And they have these enable processes. So these are enablers that are associated with make, deliver, sourcing, etc. They include management of business rules, etc., that kind of thing. So that's the supply chain operations reference model. And it has a number of levels. So for the first level, you just determine whether you're the scope and what type of, well, I guess that's the second level. What are you going to use up here? You're going to use all 6 of them or not? So we wouldn't use return. We would drop that. And then it's, are you make to stock, make to order, engineer to order, or your retail? We're engineer to order. And then you've got these written out process elements by these guys. This is for delivery. They have S for sourcing. And then you start getting into your own procedures. This is at level 4. So let's see if this is going to open. It looks kind of like this. This is engineer to order. This is an older version of it, but it'll kind of give you the idea of what it looks like when it's all kind of laid out there. They got all these parts going in there. I don't know how to increase the magnification, but you got your swim lanes, and then you got all your enablers are in purple, and you got plan, source, make, deliver, and then returns down here at the bottom. It just kind of helps you organize the business. It's pretty complicated, but you can get certified in it through Apex. Anyway, that's supply chain operation reference model. So these are the attributes that they look at, and they try to come up with measures for reliability, responsiveness, agility, costs, asset management. On each of those blocks, and then performance attributes. So process element looks like this, kind of identifies it, and then it, you got your elements here. Flexibility, cost, reliability, assets, tells you what the metrics are. Oh, come on. And down here are best practices. And then it tells you what it connects with and what it goes out to. So this is all part of the SCOR system. And then here's a sub-process element. Use of CP laser that we've just kind of applied it to. But it's got a lot of flexibility, and it can help you organize your business from end to end. So processes and tools, flexibility and continuity. You hear a lot about these two. So supply chains may have to adjust to changes in demand, shipping costs, and materials. So if they can adjust easily, they're very flexible. If they can't, they're very inflexible. Continuity is about maintaining on-time delivery during all the changes. Resilience, you hear a lot too, is an ability to recover from a setback. So supply chains may be exposed to unforeseen events, natural disasters, pandemics. And if you got a resilient supply chain, it's able to keep on moving, bounce back quickly. And it's all about risk assessment and risk mitigation. And then contingency plans, and here's a template you can use. I think this is another government template, so it's quite involved. But it's got the major steps on it. If you ever need to write a contingency plan, this template works. And then supply chain integration, the alignment of supply chain goals and objectives between the functions within the business and the business's divisions. Consistent vision, communication, alignment and linkage beyond the organization's four walls. Look to seek advantage of well-managed supply chain. An example would be an organization that shares its customer ship dates and MRP forecast down to tier 3. Organization's supply chain can also see the inventory levels throughout the supply chain. That's supply chain integration. All right. The responsibilities of selecting suppliers from an approved list, forecasting and planning internal customer requirements, and establishing reorder points usually falls on which group listed below. Anybody want to venture a guess?
Is it operations?
Close. Operations usually refers to the people actually at the plant making the trucks. And these guys are talking about purchasing, really. So I think it's going to be tactical purchasing. So this is why you practice the questions, because I can just read it and say, okay, they're not really talking about the manufacturer, they're talking about purchasing, which is pretty vaguely worded question. Yeah, D, because we divide procurement into two major areas, strategic and tactical. But C, they didn't like because operations group is usually responsible for day-to-day activities required to produce the product. So there you go. All right, which of the 8 supply chain processes requires procurement to segment the suppliers based on the spend and the number of suppliers in the industry that could provide the part? So you're basically segmenting the supply base. Which of the 4 processes listed there would be segmenting the supply base?
Bravo. Supplier relationship.
Yeah, better be B. And B it is. Yeah. And 2A4 is done. So there's how many questions are out there? 2A4. Oh, there's only 5. So raise your hand when you get done. Otherwise, we'll go over answers at 2.5. Okay, let's go over some answers here. Number one, let's get the answers. Is Delta. Acme is competing on the high end of retail clothing market. This means they all need high quality goods and exceptional service. Number two is Charlie. This is a very common way to organize a purchasing department for a large company. The tactical group handles day-to-day purchasing, and the strategic group handles the market analysis and strategic purchasing. Three is Bravo. This is how order fulfillment is defined: on-time delivery of goods and services to the customer. Four is Alpha. Supply chain flexibility is characterized by the speed with which the supply chain can adapt to changes in the marketplace. And five is Charlie. Supply chain integration is defined as the alignment of supply chain goals and objectives between functions and enterprises. Any questions? All right, so tomorrow we get to do just questions. So I will talk to you guys then.
Thanks, Rick.
Yep.
Thank you.